Hello everyone, welcome to a Talk Gaming Extra. A lot of people have been bashing Crackdown 3, saying that they're amazed it hasn't been cancelled, that they don't understand why it was even in development for this long. They showed off a cool tech demo in 2015, but since then there's been practically nothing of interest shown on it, and anything they have shown of it is a little discouraging because they don't end up showing anything actually interesting or new. They show off some of the single player campaign, which doesn't have fully destructible environments, and that's that. And so it's very, very strange, and it's confusing as to why they're still pushing it as much as they are. This, you have to remember, is probably the Xbox One X's premier launch title, or at least it's supposed to be. It's launching on November 7th alongside the Xbox One X. So you would think it would be a game that really highlights the increased power of the X, but it doesn't seem like they've really taken advantage of it. But I want to offer some hope, some things to look forward to. Keep your fingers crossed. I think there's more to this game than we are seeing right now, and it's easy to be discouraged, but we're going to talk about everything going on with the development of it and share my thoughts, blah, blah, blah. So first things first, this was some gameplay that was released to several big YouTubers earlier this week, and it's demonstrating some of Crackdown 3's single-player campaign gameplay, which doesn't look terrible. It's okay, it's good enough, but it looks like Saints Row mixed with a clunkier Sunset Overdrive without the cool kind of sliding mechanics that they had in Sunset Overdrive. So it's just a little strange. It's fugazi, as we say here on the channel. It's just not very engaging. There's nothing hooking the player into really wanting to play this. There's nothing I see here that makes me say, I need to go out and buy this game. It's just not there. Now, this is why typically games like this have one gimmick that they can push that will urge players to get the game. They have to have it because of this one gimmick. For a game like Red Faction Guerrilla, it was the fact that you could destroy all this stuff. You were playing on Mars, it was a really clunky third-person shooter, basically, but you could blow stuff up, and that was the gimmick. That's what they had. They tried to follow it up in a sequel, Red Faction Armageddon, but they put everything underground, so it just wasn't very engaging. They tried to focus more on the shooting mechanics, completely forgetting that nobody cared about the shooting mechanics. They were playing it for the destructible environments. Crackdown 3 hopefully has not lost its way and realizes what's going on, and that people are primarily interested not for this gameplay that you're seeing on screen right now, but rather for the gameplay that allows destructible environments the ability to level an entire city. And I want to show you what that would theoretically look like, at least according to the developer 2 years ago. So this was some gameplay footage that was posted by IGN. They captured it off screen, as they say, and this was a pre-alpha build, but it was demonstrating the destructible environments and the ability to basically destroy everything in the world, which was very, very cool, not just at the time, but even today, this looks very, very cool. The difficulty being that we haven't seen this followed up really at all, and there could be a couple reasons for that. The one thing is that they perhaps have had to scale it back, and so it's not quite there. The other thing is that maybe they've cut it entirely, or that they're just waiting till right before release they show off this incredible tech demo and get people really, really excited. That's also possible, but it's still strange that we haven't seen hardly any of it. But if we go through this, you see he shot this off, and I'll skip forward a little bit to when they actually start blowing some stuff up. How this essentially works is they use cloud computing to allow you to destroy an entire city. All this stuff you see on screen, according to the developer in this 2015 tech demo, allegedly is basically able to be destroyed and leveled, as you're going to see this skyscraper come tumbling down in just a moment. Now, in terms of a third-person shooter, Crackdown 3 doesn't look very interesting. It looks very bland. It's cell shading at its worst. It just doesn't look very good. But if you throw in these destructible environments, all of a sudden you could have a really, really good time with a bunch of people. Essentially, it's looking like they're going to build this off of 10 player per server sections using the Microsoft Cloud server infrastructure, and then they will allow you to do that. And the cool thing that you can actually see is right here. on the screen, if you look at where my mouse is, you see the Xbox logo, you see 2, 3, 4, 5, and those are little clouds right there. And essentially what each of those are saying is how many servers the game is contacting in order to help compute this current situation. So they said in their tech demo the most servers they ever had to access in order to achieve this was 14, and that's when they were leveling in like dozens of skyscrapers all at the same time. They had to contact 14 different servers in order to compute the whole thing. And as you see, once the building starts collapsing, it jumps to 6 servers they're accessing. The entire thing collapses, shatters into it, and we're not seeing many frame drops. But this is the important thing to remember, is that we're talking about, first of all, pre-alpha. We're talking about a developer who is probably at this moment the only person on the planet accessing those servers, asking them to perform these tasks. If you're going like, this is a single 10-person server, if you have 1 million people playing the game, chances are you're going to deal with some serious server overload. And when the developer was asked about this, they simply said, well, we're dealing with the Microsoft server, the Microsoft cloud, so we're pretty confident that the infrastructure is there to be able to maintain it and sustain this huge surge of players. If you were to have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of 10-player servers all doing all of this at the same exact time, which I believe, but it's still a massive, massive thing. Each server contacting, or each server or group of players contacting 7 to 8, now 8 different servers in order to blow stuff up, now 9, is a little hectic and insane, and very, very expensive. Not just resource expensive, but physically expensive for Microsoft to be able to pull this off. Now, this could be a reason why this game has been delayed so much and has been pushed back, because they have to build up such a crazy infrastructure, and the coding must be insane to make this work. I mean, you're talking about 10 people all over the world playing on one server, all that have to be contacting the same servers regardless of location. Then those servers do the computing and then send the information back out to the players. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of tricks that they're doing to do it. Microsoft, when it comes down to it, is a coding company. They're a software company. Not just a hardware company. They're primarily a software company, and it's very, very it's going to take a lot of hard work. I do not envy the engineers that have to come up with the way that they're going to make this work, but that's one of the reasons people are a little concerned as to why we haven't seen any of this recently, because you think that if they had all of this tech working, they would show it off. Now, people were complaining that the single player will not have fully destructible environments. It will only be on the multiplayer section. This is no surprise to me, and I'm not worried about this whatsoever. And the reason I'm not is because it was basically always going to be this way. They never said explicitly that the single player campaign was going to have fully destructible environments. They always were up front and said that this was only going to be done with cloud computing, and cloud computing necessitates the cloud. It necessitates an online connection, at which point, if you're contacting servers in order to play, you're basically online, so they might as well just embrace the multiplayer element. So this game, I fully see and realize that this is going to be a game that really is only fun when you're playing online with other people and you're doing this type of stuff, blowing up massive skyscrapers and just wreaking havoc. That looks fun. You see, you blow up this building, the skyscraper, it collapses around you. That's fun. I would buy this game and I would play it. I would play the crap out of it. This, if it were an Xbox One X exclusive, I think could sell consoles. If this, what we're seeing, could be sold. Now, there are a couple things that were weird about this footage when it initially was shown off. First of all, the world looks very bland. Is it just basically a sandbox that's just saying, hey, go and blow stuff up? If so, fine. That could be fun for a little while. Or are there missions and quests and battle stuff that you need to do? That could be really cool. 10 people a server, you're in an entire city, and you do kind of like a player battleground style thing where you just say, okay, last man standing wins, and then you're fighting each other by collapsing the skyscraper that somebody's hiding out in. That could be super, super fun. The other weird thing about it, though, as you can see, the watermark on the screen, is that this was captured off screen. This wasn't even captured with a capture card. This was footage. They set up a tripod with a camera and filmed a screen. It's like those really really low quality YouTubers that are just starting out that you see. I think we've all done it at some point, but you're trying to capture gameplay, so you set up like when I did it, it was like a little iPod Touch 4th generation, and you film your screen because that's the only thing you could do. IGN has plenty of money though. They, I'm sure, could afford a capture card, especially in 2015. It's a little weird that they weren't allowed to use one. Could be for a number of reasons. It honestly could be as simple as they just forgot a capture card and they had to do this, or it could be as very concerning as Microsoft's dev teams saying, no, we don't want capture cards, we want it to be captured offhand so that you can't see all the aliasing that's going on or whatever it is. Or perhaps this is pre-rendered and it's completely fake. Either way, it is a little strange and worrisome that they haven't shown off full on. But as you see in the reflection there, you can actually see the guy with the camera right there. So where do my words of of hope and encouragement come in? Well, I think that there's a lot that this game is trying to do that could be very, very cool. I am very hopeful that this game does something truly unique and interesting, and if it can pull off what it's attempting to, I think it could stand to be one of the most memorable games of the year. And no game has ever done what they're trying to do. Now, the problem is if they cannot implement what they've already shown off, what I just went through with you, they're in serious trouble, because that's the entire point of Crackdown 3 as a follow-up. The one thing that excited people were those destructible environments, and as you see on screen right now, if they don't implement that, you end up with just a clunky, poorly cel-shaded third-person shooter that looks like a poorly ported Saints Row 3 essentially, or Saints Row 4 even. Either way, it just doesn't look very good or fun or engaging. It looks generic and bland across the board. So if they can implement those destructible environments, it'll be very, very good. Now, the one thing that is exciting is that Microsoft has previously stated and addressed these concerns, actually stating that they have more exciting gameplay from the multiplayer to show off later this year, closer to launch. Now, that could simply be PR trying to spin it into saying, listen, we know it looks bad, but we promise we'll have something interesting to show off closer to launch. We're gonna just save the big surprises for then. That's very fair, and that's very possible. It will buck the trend, I suppose, because normally these developers tend to show off the best stuff first and then slowly drip the kind of lame stuff as they get closer to launch. But they get people excited early so that you pre-order it, which is the big thing nowadays. They want you to pre-order. They don't really give a crap if you buy it 2 days before. They want you to pre-order it 2 months beforehand. And so the fact that they haven't shown off anything that would get people excited enough to pre-order it is a little strange, just a little fugazi, but we can hope that they're just trying to take a different branding approach to it and get people pumped right next to release. That's really the only way I can think of it. This is a very expensive game to make. They've poured a ton of money into it. Some leaks have come out and shown just how much money they're putting into this game. And the fact that it hasn't been canceled yet, and if this were all we were getting, if what you see on screen is all we were getting, I would think that they would have canceled it a long time ago. But the fact that they haven't just shows to me either Microsoft is so deluded that they think that this is a worthy AAA title, or it means that there's something more to this that we simply haven't seen. And some people will take the prior stance, others will take the latter stance. I lean towards the latter. I think Microsoft probably has more in their pocket or more up their sleeve than they're showing us, and they're just waiting to blow everyone away. At least I choose to believe that, because I can't believe that they would spend years developing this generic shooter and then release a multiplayer that doesn't even have the flagship feature that they were developing and the game was in development for. So that's my choice to make that decision and to interpret it that way. But as we get closer to the game's release, we'll get to see whether or not it actually achieves this. If it achieves what they showed off in 2015 and can do that multiplayer, fully destructible environments thing, it will be very successful. I can predict that right now. If they can't pull it off and it's weird, like, oh, you can sort of shoot through walls like in a Battlefield or like Call of Duty, but oh yeah, that's all you can do, it won't be successful. It'll be bland. People will joke about it. It will be the No Man's Sky of 2017. It'll be a joke. They need to not do that. And if it turns out to be like that, they gotta bury it. They gotta dump this game and run away from it. Because at this point, it's already got enough PR that's so negative. They just have to have a win here. And if Microsoft can't pull off a win with Crackdown 3, their launch title essentially for the Xbox One X, I think they're in some serious trouble. But those are just my thoughts. I want to hear yours down in the comment section below if you're going to be picking the game up, if you're interested. I'm always interested in hearing your thoughts. It's really interesting because a lot of time you guys have stuff that you know that I don't know, and it's just nice to hear all of that. But I'd love to hear those down below. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe for full episodes, and for the critiques that I do. I am working on a couple right now. We're working on them. They take a long time, so thank you for your patience. But with all that said, that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. I do love each and every single one of you, even when you're watching in a noir kind of shot. But with that said, thank you for watching. Love you all. Peace out. Bye.